Japan is highly known for its very popular Touge scene where lovers of JDM machinery get to try and tackle the roads and see who is the best amongst the rest. So I wanted to try and tackle this scene as well. But first, we need a car, and the car that I'll be using is this. Okay, let me explain my choice. See, we all know that cars such as Skylines, Evos, Supras, and many other JDM cars are a popular choice by most people, but I wanted to try and see how many opponents I can defeat while only using this Daihatsu here. So strap in for this ride. As I start the new campaign, the game instantly asks you to buy yourself a ride, and the Daihatsu is already purchasable with its amazing 31 horsepower. Because it's so cheap, the remaining money can instantly be spent on upgrades such as engine, turbo, and etc. With that, the power goes to an incredibly 50 horsepower. And I changed the final gear ratio a bit just to increase the top speed slightly. Now, this game has both a day and night cycle. Daytime is where you can do the legal category races, try and obtain sponsors, which is the only time I can use something else than the Daihatsu, Gymkhana for some extra money, but aside from those things, the main progression is the nighttime events. Here, everyone gets summoned to the parking areas, and it's up to you to beat all of them to progress onwards. To be honest, at first I thought this thing would barely move, but I was seriously wrong. It accelerated quickly, and because my opponents have heavier cars than me, I just comfortably go around the outside and take the lead. The only major downside you'll have with this car is the long straight, as the AI drivers can catch up so quickly to you, but once you get into the tighter corners, more technical sectors, the Daihatsu will be a lot better. It manages to win its first race. The second opponent would instantly jump up the difficulty scale as it's a high gambler in a 350Z. And you're not getting past that easily, buddy. Oh god. Okay, maybe I can get him on the corner. Okay, it actually is doing alright. Now this is where I'm gonna struggle. Already intense as fuck. I'm glad he loses a lot in the corners though, because that is my biggest strength at the moment. Oh, he's no longer in my rearview mirror actually. I spoke too soon. He's already there. Oh, come on, just a little bit more. Come on. Push everything in the shit box. Let's go. Off to a great start. Already beat a fucking 350Z. That is what we like to see, fellas. Next course was Hiroshima, and similarly to Hakone, it involves lots of corners with a few long straights towards the end, which suited the Daihatsu perfectly. Since it was day one still, the opponents weren't too much of a struggle. I love the fact that the car was so small, so it could basically squeeze through most of these opponents and do some nice overtakes from around the outside. Day 2, and I did a few Gymkhana runs to gain some money for this muffler upgrade, giving 5 more horsepower. It isn't much, I know, but I'll take anything I can get at this point. Already have a team battle available here. It's basically events where you may face either 2, 3, or sometimes 4 opponents back to back. The first driver rocking an old MR2, but the Daihatsu just manages to find a space to take the lead. The team leader sadly had a mental breakdown after I overtook him. Yoink. I love how the team leaders instantly get depressed. Like, he couldn't face the fact that he got overtaken by a Daihatsu, that he instantly gave up. He was like, fuck this shit. Fuck this humiliation, I'm giving up. The remaining opponents couldn't manage to hold the Daihatsu back as well, until I found my true rival. Ah, no. Why? Our battle shall be legendary, dude. I managed to get a good start, but my opponent was rapid as me, staying close to me for the entire race. There were no real corners I could shake him off on, so I tried to keep the mistakes at a minimum. The AI was trying out different ways to close up the gap, but it didn't manage to get the job done, leading my Daihatsu to a victory in this battle. Along the way, we met some, interesting rivals. The fucking Melon Griper nickname. I wonder what he did to get that nickname. Surely nothing bad, right? With a few more victories, it was time to call it a day. I wanted to see if there was anything interesting in the forums and came across this. Seno from Hiroshima. She's a hottie. I'm a big fan of hers. Now, we have our very first horny person. Let's go. The first of many horny people that we're gonna find in this playthrough. They weren't holding back with it. I've tried everything I can think of getting girls to like me, but nothing's worked. Will somebody share their secrets with me? Fellas, what are the secrets, okay? We need to help this guy out. How do we help Tofu Mania get some bitches? Just tell her your past trauma. Yeah, just trauma dump her. That is a good starter, you know? Then you work from there. Then your first date is gonna be at the therapist's place, and then maybe some coffee. And then you know, gradually progress with the trauma dumping until she's completely scared of you. I'm a big fan of Nana, the chick who comes on the weekends. I'll pay big bucks for data on her. And we get our very first stalker! Literally, it's the third day in-game. Horny person, stalker person. Name me another racing game that gives you characters like that. There was also a Daihatsu copium machine in here, and I couldn't refuse a challenge from it. And even that couldn't stop our little beauty here. I was starting to like this car more and more as it kept defeating so many different opponents. The game also had these events where you need to get a lot of points and be ahead of the opponent, as I like to call it the action event. Whenever he says action, it hits you in the feels. He puts so much love and passion into the action. A true motivational person right there. Now I've stumbled upon a full female team, and this is where the Daihatsu would struggle a bit. See, most of the events I've done before were mostly downhill tracks. This, however, was an uphill event, and this thing really struggled to keep up. My only hope was them slowing down a lot in the corners so I could catch up a bit, and I did get close enough for an overtake around the outside and going on to win the first event. The second one was up against an R31, and you can just see the struggle the Daihatsu has going uphill, but same move as before gets me into the lead, and afterwards the lady just gave up. The lady could not bear the shame of being overtaken by a Daihatsu. Her whole reality shattered in front of her face. After this night, the first boss appeared in Hakone. Seeing him just leave me at the start didn't really give me the best of confidence, but by the time I got to the first corner, I managed to find just enough space to squeeze into the lead. Afterwards, his car just didn't have the grip to keep up, so I managed to outdistance him and win the race. First boss done and dusted. Right after this night, the second boss appeared as well, but before doing that, I went to see what upgrades we had, and I found something interesting. Oh my god, what is this? I actually did not know this was a thing. That looks so freaking cursed. It looks shocked from the front. Like a shocked emoji or something. Thing is, doesn't this actually help us anywhere? Like, it's full aero. You know what? Fuck it. I'm putting this shit on. A GT wing. Oh, God. Now we're talking, fellas. I think you can adjust the downforce in the air. Fellas, we need the best we can out of this. Beating the first boss also unlocked a few new stages. One called Haruna, aka the Akina Pass, every initial D fan loves. I managed to beat 3 out of 4 opponents. The last one had an uphill time attack event, and no matter how much I tried, the Daihatsu wasn't good enough for it. So Haruna I'll have to leave for another time. Another new track was Akagi, and this one suited the Daihatsu because there were a lot of twisty corners where it could be utilized the best. After beating a few rivals, it was cleared for the day, leaving only the last slasher for the night. Same as last time, they would have a good start, but just a few corners later, the Daihatsu squeezes into the lead yet again. The slasher had one more chance on the final straight. He was gaining and gaining, but the Daihatsu clutches out with a very small lead at the end, defeating the second boss of this run. That also unlocked the last stage for now, Ura Roko. It was another twisty, cornery track that suited the Daihatsu just perfectly. While the AI would struggle, the Daihatsu would prevail. Now it was just continuing with the grind and defeating everyone I can in Akagi. Alongside that, I did some extra sponsor events just to be able to get some more cash later when I need it. At certain times, there are rivals that can give you upgrade parts if you beat them, and here a level 4 transmission was up for grabs, but I wasn't prepared for how tricky this would be. Oh, it's the action battle! Fuck! I don't think it's gonna be good enough for this. Like, I'm not getting enough points with this, and I'm not even in first place. Yikes, that's gonna be tough. Oh god, these corners are not helping. I don't think I'm getting this, fellas. Even if I have the points, he's just instantly ahead of me. But after struggling for a while, I managed to get this run. Oh, I got it! Keep going! Don't know how, but I got 10k. Let's go. Screw everything else. Finish line is what matters. Let's go! Let's freaking go! I have no idea how I clutched it there. I thought that was hopeless, actually. Level 4 transmission. I'm taking that. Little did I know that this would reappear so quickly, but this time on another stage. Game really loves its action today. Can never have enough action. Nah, man, this is very difficult. Like, the dude is way ahead of me as well. Ooh, okay. Okay. I'm still not ahead, though. Holy! Oh god, I just need a little bit of points. I'm gonna sacrifice this one just so I can overtake him. That was actually good enough. Damn. I actually thought it was over right there. 17,000. Daihatsu, ladies and gentlemen. On the following day, the Akagi Slasher can now be challenged, and he has a pretty fast Supra. Luckily for me, the stage has a ton of corners, so my Daihatsu was able to keep up with him nicely, until it eventually finds an opening and just goes for it. Now it was just surviving another 2 miles towards the finish line. The Slasher was getting a little bit desperate at times, but his attempts ultimately failed, giving yet another win for the Daihatsu, clearing this stage as well, which now should unlock all of the stage 3 layouts. Before that, it was time to add a bit more power to this car, so it went from 57 to 62 horsepower. A very small gain, but a gain nonetheless. With stage 3, we have 3 new tracks, that being Omoteroko, Shigakusatsu, and Nikko. Omoteroko would be one of the easier ones because of how many quick turns it had, along with a few more straights than the previous track. Shigakusatsu, on the other hand, had quite a bit of long straights, so it was on the weaker side for this car, which would result in a few blocking maneuvers here and there. It did provide some interesting battles, like this uphill one against an Evo. On paper, it should easily obliterate me, but the Daihatsu always finds its way to squeeze into the lead. However, the long straights did take away that lead quickly. But still, with quite a bit of corners to go, the Daihatsu was slowly getting back until it eventually caught its second chance. The Evo was trying hard to regain the lead, but it was a little bit too late as the Daihatsu crosses the finish line. Nikko was simple as well for this car, but Jesus, did it take forever to finish a race. Like, how many turns like this do you need on this track? After a few days, the Uraroko Slasher summons us for a duel, and he had a very good looking NSX, which kind of made me question, would this actually be doable? The event starts and the AI bolts it immediately, which didn't look good for me, but a few corners later it was side by side with the NSX and eventually squeezes past it as well. Had this been another layout like Shigakusatsu, maybe the NSX would be a lot tougher, but here it can't really push the car as much as it wants to. With that, one more Slasher has been defeated by the almighty Daihatsu. By now it has defeated so many bosses that I was genuinely very happy with it. Continuing on with Omoteroko, it was doing a very good job, defeating so many different opponents and causing a lot of emotional damage to the rivals. So much so that I'm pretty sure some might need a bit of therapy to help them out. Because I still didn't finish off Haruna, I was doing some battles there, and one battle that I absolutely couldn't refuse was this one. If I were to win, I would get another Daihatsu, and you might be wondering, why would you want 2 of these? The idea I had when I saw this was keeping my current Daihatsu as an uphill car, so it means it has lower top speed but better acceleration, and this other one as a downhill car, which would have a lot more top speed and a bit less acceleration, but since it's a downhill, it would reach top speed easily. The battle was pretty simple, so we get to claim another Daihatsu into our garage. After a bit of tuning, the downhill machine is here. Just out of curiosity, I want you lots to comment your opinion on the spoiler just to see how far you've made it into this video. It was faster than the previous one, but of course the AI is much more faster still. I went back to Haruna to complete the remaining events I failed earlier, and finally the Slasher was here to challenge me in his Evo. Just like previous battles, AI gets the head start, but I catch up a corner or 2 later. Side by side with him, I managed to take the lead from him for about 2 seconds until the next long straight. But the Daihatsu is a very resilient opponent, and it fought its way back into the lead and kept it towards the end. Right after this night, the Shigakusatsu Slasher appeared as well, driving an A34. It has a quick start blocking off the inside. For the most part, it was me mainly tailing him because no matter how close I got, he always managed to pull away. But luckily a part of the track is covered in dirt, where I managed to pull off an overtake. Now the trickiest part was keeping him at bay for this very long straight here. No matter how many times he tried, the Daihatsu blocked off each attempt, beating another boss. With this victory, the stage 4 tracks are unlocked as well, but those I'll leave for later since there are a few more bosses from the previous tracks that are yet to be beaten. This new stage also gives a bit more performance parts, pushing both Daihatsus to 77 horsepower. Afterwards, I finished off any remaining rivals I had in Omoteroko and Nikko. The next Slasher was Last Leg in a very nice looking Evo, and a lot of you mentioned that as well in my previous video about this game. As good as it looked, it didn't stand much a chance against my little speedy boy. It kind of made me feel bad in a way because these cars look like they would do a lot more damage on other tracks and get limited in a way with these ones. Right after this, the Nico Slasher is summoned as well. The first boss to be driving a European car against me. It did have power, that's for sure, but it was still way too heavy compared to me, so getting first place wasn't that hard. The hard part was just keeping him behind me, and the bosses don't really like that. There was a small stray before the last corner which I just couldn't do much against him, so I gambled it all on the final corner, and the grip this Daihatsu had led it straight towards victory. Now all the bosses from stage 1 to 3 have been defeated, so it's only stage 4 left to focus on, which has snowy tracks. Zao and Asso. One thing they both share in common is that they have ridiculously long straights here, which is going to be probably the toughest part to complete for this run. Luckily, I was able to upgrade both cars to almost have 100 horsepower each, which should help out a lot around here. First event in Zao, and the AI isn't sugarcoating it. These long straights are just killing me, but I managed to find a small opening and take my chance for the lead. But even then, my opponents just have so much freaking power here, it's hard to fight them properly, but I kept trying no matter what. The AI would get desperate and start bonking me, but still I managed to keep it together and get a victory. That already felt a lot more intense than some of the earlier boss battles, and that wasn't going to stop. Asso wasn't too different from Zao, so it meant most of the time it'd become a blocking game. Seriously, these guys are just on rails with their speed. I kept trying my best and was able to secure a bit of wins on both tracks. There were events where it would take so long to get a chance to pass the AI that my health bar was completely drained, leading to quite a bit of bonks at the end. Oh geez, he pushed me over 100 miles. The engine's gonna explode, my man. Oh, seriously, dude. And of course some occasional Forza moves from the AI. And then there are some opponents like this. Start your engine! Where's he gonna go? Literally from the get-go. At least let me start up. Oh god. I'm just quite literally a punching bag for the fucking Subaru. They don't appreciate the Daihatsu as much as we do. Oh, pop! I have to survive 2 more miles of this shit. Oh, almost. Almost. I've never been, I think, this slow against so many different opponents. Like, the only time this was a thing was probably with the Sports 800 and GT4. But in here, it's like a daily basis. But after a bit of time, I came across a very big problem.
Bye, have a great time.
Oh, fuck. Dude, this is just... No. This is unfair. Like, if he started from the back, that would be nice. You left me in the fucking dust. This was just very painful. There was no chance my car could win this event, so sadly, this is as far as the Daihatsu could go. But I was still curious if it stood a chance against the slashers here, so I went ahead and purchased and upgraded this Storia to beat the A34 that I lost to. If only the previous car made it to this point, it could have actually stood a chance, I feel like, but it is what it is. Now, facing off against the first slasher, did our Daihatsu stand a chance? How good are we against the Clio? It already left me. Yeah. That's not gonna work. Okay, how about I change to the other Clio, I guess? Oh, sorry, other Daihatsu? I feel like I'm gonna have to limit my gear ratios by quite a lot if I want to keep up. Nah, it just has really good acceleration. I feel like this is the run killer now properly. His Clio is way too quick for me to beat him in this thing. Okay, Absolute Emperor... we cannot defeat. How about the other guy? Do I stand a chance against the other guy at least? It literally lasted less than 7 seconds. That is pretty much it. I can't progress anymore. It might have failed, but it still gave its all and kept beating so many higher-end opponents in the process. It definitely left its mark on the Touge scene, and I hope you enjoyed this journey with the Daihatsu. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more racing content. Also, on a side note, I did add $1 membership, so if you want to support the channel and get your name in the credits here, feel free to check it out. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.